did you find as a legacy that it was harder or easier? Were they tougher on you? Did they know you were a legacy? Did you know any of them when you were there?
I didn't know any of the instructors from my dad's era or anything like that. They did ask when we started training if anyone had family in the teams, and my roommate also had a dad that was in the teams, and he rose his hand, and I didn't, and I was like, "You're an idiot. You shouldn't tell them." They didn't really do anything with that information. They just wanted to know. And so I'm going through first phase, and I'm like, my name's Charbonnet. They almost never said it. And if they did, they said it wrong. They'd say pronounce it a different way, Charbonnet or, Charbonnet or something else. And so I'm like the gray man, which is like what everybody wants to be, where like
Yeah.
instructors don't notice you for anything good or bad. You're kind of just a guy. And so going through Hell Week, and my dad came out to San Diego and was like walking around, watching evolutions when he could find the class, run around Coronado. And I would see him off in the distance, like on base and stuff. And it was kind of cool. It like motivated me knowing he was around. But one day, I think like Wednesday lunch or something, we're in line to get
Is
food.
this we're in Hell Week still?
Yeah, in Hell
Okay.
Week. And so
Okay.
I've been awake for a couple days now, and I look and he's at the he's like at the galley. There's like a little like chairs out in the outside, and he's talking to one of our instructors, and I'm like, dude, that's like a little bit risky. And so I just thought, I'm like, he knows what he's doing. He's not going to give up any information. And so we go eat, and then we had like med checks that day. And when I come out of med checks, they strip you down, check you, make sure you're all put together all right. And then so I'm putting my clothes back on, and while you're getting dressed, there's instructors hassling you and throwing water on you and stuff. And the rest of the class is out getting messed with out on the beach as everyone filters in. And so I'm getting my time like my boot or something, and the instructor comes up behind me. He's like, Charbonnet. And I was like, oh, he just said it right. And then he's like, what do you think your dad's doing right now? And I was like, oh man, there's no way. I was like, he doesn't know. And so I was like, couldn't tell you. Bull crap. And then so he starts like hammering me, and so then, I'm like, oh man. And then my like tired mind, I'm like, maybe only he found out. So I'm like running to the beach now. And when I get out to the beach, the instructor that was talking to my dad has a picture of his bud's class. And he's like, whoever can answer this question doesn't get doesn't have to hit the surf. Whose daddy is in this picture? And I was like, oh no. So they're like working us because they're like, why is your dad following us around? Like, I don't know if they were just messing with me or not, but they were like basically like blaming me, saying like I was giving them information of where we were going to be and stuff, which is impossible. So they're like, I better not see him again. If I see him again, you're going to pay the man. And I'm like, I can't do anything. He's got access to the base, like he can do whatever he wants. And so, anyways, like we better not see him again. Hit the surf. So the whole class runs over the berm, and we're on base, so it's like empty beach. So we run over the berm, and there's one guy on the beach, and it's my dad walking down the beach. And so I'm like sprint out to him, and I'm like, take off my hat so he can recognize me. And I'm like, they know who you are. Get out of here. And the whole rest of Hell Week, it was just like, where's your daddy? And like messing with me more. Those last couple of days were harder because he was a legacy, but for the most part, it didn't make a big difference. I mean, everybody kind of teased me about it after that. Like during life saving is basically instructor fighting in the water, and so they usually like I'm pretty good. I grew up a waterman. Obviously, my dad was a SEAL. He was on the swim team and stuff. I grew up surfing and doing all that sort of stuff. I'm pretty good in the water, and I knew I was better than most instructors in the water. So they were like all like, "Oh, I got Charbonnet. His daddy's not here to save him." So I worked a couple of instructors pretty good for that. I teased him about it because it was funny that what happened was the instructor's talking to him, and he was like, what are you doing around my class? And my dad was like, oh. And he was like, I'm just here for the SEAL reunion, which is a good cover, except for the first thing a SEAL says when they're like identified as another SEAL. They're like, what class were you? And so he didn't tell him his name. He just said Mike, but then he said his class number. And then all they had to do was match the names and the class number, which
Yeah.
I tease him for like, getting busted. But he was like, hey, the rest of your hell week was way more memorable because of it, which is true. So yeah. And it
Yes.
was pretty cool. When I got secured, usually they like lock you in the barracks to like sleep for, 24 hours or something before they let you out into the world. But one of the master chief like asked for my dad's number to call him and say, I was done. So I gave him a number, which wasn't my dad's number because I was tired. I accidentally gave him my number. And so when I got to my phone, I had a voicemail and he had all these nice things to say about me in the voicemail. I thought was hilarious. But then out of instinct, I pressed the delete button, which you normally do, when you had a voicemail back then. And I was like, oh, dang it. Like, but yeah, me and my dad went and got a burger at Hodad's afterwards. And I was like
That's
falling asleep in the truck and stuff. So pretty cool memory. Good experience.